Social media is an important tool for your small business, and if you want to grow your customer base and make more money, then stick around. I got 5 different points I want to talk about that are going to elevate your social media game and ultimately convert into more paying customers. Social media marketing uses different platforms like Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, among others, to grow your subscriber base, grow your clients. If you're a service industry, you're going to get more customers. If you're selling products, you can use these platforms to sell more. Your advertising strategy and your social media content strategy can both come together to ultimately make sure that you are being seen in front of the right people. We can create social media campaigns that are specifically targeted towards selling products, selling your services, booking consultations, getting subscribers. The content that we create has to be strategically researched and created. And what I want to talk about today are these 5 different things. Before we start, I want to talk about some facts. When it comes to Facebook, it's the largest platform in the world with 2.8 billion daily active users. People think Facebook is dead, and it's not the case. It might not be growing like it once was, but it is the gigantic platform where the most people are. With 2.8 billion daily users, you know that that's a great place to be. If you're a B2C, business to customer, then you're going to want to make sure that you're on this platform, because that's going to be able to translate over into more customers. They have a crazy awesome Power Editor, which is their advertising platform, and you can use the Power Editor to get exceptionally targeted advertising. The cost of it is very cheap when you have it set up properly, and you're going to ultimately be able to track with Facebook Pixels how many sales you're getting and what that's translating into. So you can't ignore Facebook. Facebook's other company, Instagram, which some people don't know, but Meta owns Instagram, is another platform with over 1.1 billion daily active users. It's another one that's great for business to consumer, it's B2C, and you can use Facebook's Power Editor marketing platform to advertise to people on there. So you can get super specific and super targeted. So when you're coming up with your strategy and how you want to market to people on social media, you want to pick the platforms. And Facebook and Instagram are 2 of the more popular ones for millennials, baby boomers, Gen X. That's where they are. Now, Generation Z is hanging out on Snapchat. So if your audience, if the people who are buying your goods are under the age of 25, then Snapchat and YouTube are great places to market to them, because that's where they spend the most time. Now, Snapchat only has 250 million daily active users, but that's where that Gen Z is. And YouTube has billions of views per month, so you can't go wrong on there. And no matter how obscure you think your product or service is, there's room for you to grow on YouTube by making videos just like this one. If you're business to business, you want to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is where professionals hang out, and it's the only platform that's primarily dominated by Generation X and baby boomers. So if you're business to business and you sell services, LinkedIn is a great place to be. I would start blogging on LinkedIn. I would start reaching out to people on LinkedIn. I would start building a content strategy around LinkedIn if you're a B2B supplier, if you're a service provider for business to business or a supplier of goods. Last but not least, I do want to mention Pinterest, because it's the only female-dominated platform where 90% of the people on Pinterest are actually females. And if you're selling goods and services that have anything to do with home decor or products that would be used by women, Pinterest is a great place to be. So with all of this mentioned, I only want you to focus on 1 or 2 of those platforms when you're building your content strategy. If you're a small business owner, or if you manage a marketing team and you're moving into the next year or the next quarter with some goals in mind, build 1 or 2 platforms. It's better to have a solid foundation on one of those platforms than it is to be spread across all of them. So make sure that you're focused on one of those platforms, and then maybe have a secondary one, but don't worry about having all of them covered. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the 5 goals of social media marketing. People, they just think that, especially small business owners, they just think, I need to throw something up on Facebook. It's Tuesday afternoon, I got this really cute cat meme, I'm just going to throw it on there. But you know what? That's not really relevant to your business, right? So it might sound kind of silly, but make sure when you're planning your marketing content that you're doing one of these 5 things that I'm about to mention. All right, number 1 is brand awareness. So social media is a great way to increase your brand awareness. You can go on there and post about your services, post about your stories, post about your products. You can start talking about these things, and then your brand over time will gain more awareness. The more likes, comments, subscribers, shares, the more that happens, the more people will get eyes on your stuff, and then you will start building your brand awareness. That's organic. If you decide that you want to use some advertising dollars with Facebook or Instagram or Google, then you can even get more brand awareness by getting people outside of your audience to see your stuff too. And I'm going to be putting together a guideline for how to advertise in these platforms in another video, so we'll get there soon. All right, the second thing is building a community of advocates. So you can use brand ambassadors or just your current customers or clients. You can turn them into brand ambassadors. Ask them to post 5-star reviews on Facebook and on Google. Ask them to share and like and comment on your posts. Get them engaged. When you have them, take selfies with them, take pictures with them, shout them out. You want to build a community, and you can do that by engaging with your already customers or clients on these platforms. So one of the easiest things you can do is just ask them. People will do stuff for you if you ask them. So if you say, hey, I'd like you to share my business page, or I'd like you to go on my business page and invite friends to view it, then they'll do it. So go ahead and build that community of advocates, and social media is the best place to do that. All right, number 3, you can use social media for research and development. If you're testing out new products, if you're testing out new services, if you're trying to figure out what people are interested in, social media is a great place to do that research, because you can post on there and you can see reactions. If you think a particular product or service would be great to offer, but you're not sure yet and you want to do a little research, go on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or Snapchat or any of these and engage with people and ask them what they think, because what they'll tell you is whether or not they're interested. And you can see on the analytics whether or not there's likes, if there's more subscribers, link clicks, whatever, and content that gets engaged with is relevant to your audience. So you can use it for great research tools. Another thing that's great about social media is you can enhance your public relationship. One of the platforms like Twitter, for instance, is a great way to enhance your public relations, because what you're going to be doing is engaging with people in real time. A lot of times, Fortune 500 companies will use Twitter strictly to respond to customers, and it's a great way to do that. And here's one thing: if you take one thing out of this today, remember this, that you have to respond to your comments, to your mentions, to your likes, because people hate it when they message a business or they mention you in a comment or something and you don't respond. So make sure that you respond, and that's enhancing your public relations. Now, if you're not paying attention to your social media and people are mentioning you and they're commenting and they're liking you and they're leaving reviews and you're not responding to them, that is a hugely wasted opportunity. So make sure that you're engaging with people to enhance your public relations on these platforms. All right, and number 5, the most important, is driving sales and finding leads. Social media, people do a ton of research before they go out to eat at a restaurant, before they go hire a carpet cleaner, before they find a lawyer, before they go to a dentist. Whatever it is, people are researching it these days. So make sure that you have a website to go to and social media that's driving people to that, so that you can get leads. You want to get leads, you want new sales, right? And social media is a great way to attract new business. So make sure that you're doing that and using these platforms to do that. So those are the 5 goals of social media marketing. With that in mind, let's go into 5 steps we can take to get a plan together. Okay, so the 5 things that we're going to do to get our plan together is, number 1, we're going to define our goals and we're going to lay out our metrics. Social media metrics is data that's provided by either Google Analytics or the actual platforms themselves. The native analytics systems of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it will tell you how many people have engaged with your content. It will tell you how many people liked or mentioned or shared. And you want to use those analytics to see how well your content's performing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have those analytics in place. For instance, if you have an Instagram and it's a personal one, change it over to a professional Instagram. Then you'll get insights. If you're on Facebook and you're only promoting your business or your services through your personal page, create a Facebook business page so that you can measure things. Create a Facebook pixel, put it on your website so that you can track social media traffic on your website. I would also set up Google Analytics and then start tracking pages, landing pages that are only accessible through your website or through your social media so that you can see what's working and what isn't. When you're going into a social media strategy blind without any way to analyze or measure data, then you're not going to have a successful strategy. So the first thing we do is we get the Facebook Pixel, we get the Google Analytics, we figure out, on Instagram and any of these platforms how we can measure the data, and we define our goals. So the goal can be to purchase something, to book a consultation with you, to book an appointment. And we want to make sure that we have all of those goals in mind and tracked on Google Analytics or on one of the native platforms. All right, so number 2, we already have everything measured out in terms of how we're going to be determining our success through data. So number 2 is we want to get our target audience. We want to figure out who it is that we're going to be marketing to. Now, if you're a brand new business owner and you haven't really started yet, this might not be as intuitive as it is for somebody who's been in business for 20 years, but you should have a general idea as to who it is you're going to be targeting. So for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to use the example of a headshot photographer. The headshot photographer is looking for people who will take headshots. So that could be anyone from high school teams, sports teams, college teams, basketball teams, professional organizations. Ask yourself, who is your audience? Like, who's your customer? Who's your ideal customer? It could be a law firm. It could be a corporation with a ton of different people. It could be a high school for teachers. So in that particular instance, let's just boil it down to this photographer wants to get corporate clients. So we're going to define the target audience by saying it's corporate clients. Who's a corporate client? Well, who's in charge of that? Well, the marketing department. So we're going to want to market to people that are in the head of marketing departments, business owners, people who are interested in LinkedIn. We can define that audience and figure out who it is that we want to market to, because then we can start creating content towards those individuals. So when we are in the second phase of the plan right now, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we set our audience and who it is that we're trying to target. Okay, number 3, this is the fun part. This is the sexy part. This is what everybody loves. It is planning your content strategy. Now, content strategy, the first thing you want to do is you want to figure out what's your mix going to be. Is it going to be a mix of written blogs? Is it going to be photos? Is it going to be video? Is it going to be like more pictures? Like, what's it going to be? So we want to talk about that. Graphics, animations. We have so many different options now in terms of content that now that we know how we're going to measure and who we're marketing towards, now we want to create the content strategy. So what's it going to be? My recommendation is you pick 2 or 3 different ones and you start focusing on there. Video is exceptionally popular right now. 40% of 50% of people say that video will enhance conversions, and you can check that out online. I can put some links down below for all helpful resources in this regard. But you can use so many different tools to get awesome content, like Canva, like Envato Elements, like Adobe. There's so many different tools out there to create badass content, and that's what you need to do. So when you're creating content, think about how you're going to communicate with the audience. What is it that they're looking for? What is it that what service can you provide, or what niche can you fill that's going to help them out? So you want to create that content around that. And what I recommend doing is creating a content calendar. So if you're using Facebook and Instagram, they have their own content calendar within the platform that you can use, but there's also Hootsuite, Buffer, Sprout Social, Falcon.io. There are so many different tools you can use to plan your content around. One thing I see that small businesses do, and even large businesses for that matter, which I think is a huge mistake, is they don't plan their content. They're just rolling off the seat of their pants. They're just posting things when they feel like it, when they have a little extra time on a Tuesday afternoon. They're not really putting thought into a calendar. And what you can do is you can create content, which I suggest you do up front for the month, and then you schedule it out over time, and then you monitor how that content is doing, and you monitor any mentions and interactions, and then you engage back with them. So definitely get a content calendar, because that's going to take a lot of stress off of you, and you can have it planned in advance. Now, of course, this is just a roadmap. There's going to be some things that happen during the course of the month that might interfere with that content calendar. So it's not like it's set in stone. It's a dynamic thing. If you need to change things around, if you're having an event, if something happens, a promotion, or something comes up that you need to change in the middle of the month, then you do that. But at least when you have a content calendar, you know that you have a solid base of high-quality content to give to your audience. All right, so I want to talk about some of the reasons why people unfollow your accounts, okay? There are plenty of things that you can do to piss off your subscribers or your audience or your people, turn them off enough to the point to where they're not even engaging with you anymore. And the number one thing that people do is they're not being replied to. If people are sending you DMs, if people are mentioning you in comments, if people are commenting on your posts and you're not replying to them, they will unfollow you. So you have to make sure that you're replying to people and engaging with them in conversation, not just one-word answers, and don't fight with them. Don't ever fight on social media. If somebody has given you a bunch of troll-like activity on Facebook or Instagram or any of these platforms, just hit them with a smile, send them a hug, like just say thanks for your comment. Never engage in negativity on social media because it's only going to reflect badly on you as the business owner. Another reason why people unfollow is because of irrelevant content. If you're posting memes, if you're posting political things and you're not a politician, if you're posting about sports teams that has nothing to do with your business, if it's irrelevant to your business, people will unfollow you. You know, it's nice every now and then to post a funny cat meme or something kind of ridiculous, but don't make that your strategy. Don't make that the only thing you do because over time, people will follow you because it's irrelevant to them. And you always have to talk to people in terms of what matters to them. All right, another thing is that you post way too many ads, way too many promotional posts. It's always about selling. It's always about what I want you to do. You know, people don't want to be sold to anymore. That's why content marketing is so important. That's why attraction over than promotion is so important on social media. And I want you to understand, it's about attraction, not promotion. People are afraid to go out and be vulnerable in front of the camera or go out and give away some of their secrets in terms of about their business. But that's what's going to bring people in. Your human side is going to bring people in. So people get turned off and they unfollow when all they're seeing are ads and promotions. Come in and buy this. Book this time with me. Blah, 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 on and on. Make it so that it's more engaging. Make your content more interesting. Because if you just only do promotion, people will unfollow you. All right, so number 4, we're going to talk about measuring, monitoring, and optimizing. So at this point, you got your data points. You have your target audience. You've created some badass content, whether it's video, photo, blogging, whatever. Now you want to measure and optimize the performance of this. So what that means is checking in on a daily basis, seeing how people are interacting with your posts, seeing which ones are popular, and measuring the results that you're getting. All the information that you collect month by month, you can next month when you're planning your content, focus on what was successful last month and expand and grow it. Do some testing, do some research. How are you going to know what's working if you're not measuring and optimizing your current posts? So I would say on a daily basis or a weekly basis, go in, see how your posts are performing, see what's doing well, respond to all your comments, get conversations flowing, and measure them. If you see a post that you didn't think was going to do well, but it turned out to be a great post, then the next month when you're doing this process over again, you can create content that's going to be just like that or even better and move that ball forward. You know, we're not very good as business owners or as marketers at necessarily knowing what the audience would want, what the public wants. So let them tell you, and they're going to tell you by how they interact with your content. So measure it and optimize it, and that's step number 4. All right, step number 5, engage more and more and more. Get more people involved. Get more people liking your page and commenting. Ask for opinions. Ask for replies. When they're commenting on things, comment back. Ask people questions. Get them involved. If you run a brick and mortar and you have customers coming in every day, or you run a service business and you see clients often, ask them to interact with your social media post. Get them to like it. Get them to subscribe. Get them to share and tag them. If you're working with somebody, tag them in a picture. Get a selfie with them. Get a picture of them. Client appreciations, customer appreciation posts. People love it when you're being social on social media. That's what it's all about. Engaging people and reaching out. So as a business, don't just settle for posting, content calendar, measuring and optimizing. The next thing is engage and ask people. There's nothing wrong with asking people to give you 5 stars, to go on Facebook and to share your post, to invite their friends and their relatives. Create these brand ambassadors, and over time, you're going to have an army of raving fans that are going to grow your social media following. All right, so I hope that this was helpful to you. These are just 5 basic points that I want you to hit when you're strategizing for your social media marketing. These are very broad strokes. This is not for the advanced marketer, although I do believe that it's good to refresh yourself every now and then. So we're going to dive deeper into this in upcoming videos where I'm going to go into more detail. I'm going to show things on my computer. I'm going to show you the Power Editor. I'm going to show you some marketing tactics, some advertising techniques, how to create really great content. We're going to go into this stuff in more detail. But today, I just wanted to give you a broad stroke idea of what a content marketing social media strategy looks like. And it's something that's very doable, and you can do it. Some people feel like they're completely overwhelmed by social media, and if that's you, I want you to know that you can just focus on 1 or 2 platforms. You can just focus on getting some great content out there. You can get some basic measurements, and you can grow it over time. And that's what it's all about, growing over time. So I want to thank you for listening. My name is Alex Zinni with Alpha Key Digital, and I want you to comment, like, subscribe, do all that stuff below, and I hope to see you soon. So thanks.